Was booming.
And the award for Best Newcomer goes to Mr. Dirk Diggler.
Wow.
Goodbye, 1979. Hello, 1980. Are you ready?
But in 1980,
Come on, you puppies!
the party was over.
You are fired! What? You're fired! You're fired!
It's jealousy, it's deceitfulness, it's vindictiveness, but I mean, God, what can you expect when you're on top?
Oh, wait. Love this part.
New Line Cinema presents a portrait of 2 decades in the life of a business, the days of a dreamer, and the nights in between. Boogie Nights.
Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
Hello, I'm David Wiley.
And today is our second Paul Thomas Anderson outing.
Yes.
And it is David's second, or what are we saying, second and a half?
Yeah, we'll call it that.
We'll call it
at
second
the
and
very
a half.
least.
Second and a half Paul Thomas Anderson movie. This is Boogie Nights. This currently resides at number 5 on my
In your top movies of all time.
in my top movies of all time. These are not the best movies of all time. These are my
Your
favorites.
favorites. Yes.
Yes. And then, yeah, when I just go off, I just go off movies that I find eminently rewatchable, movies that I have a great time rewatching, movies that I know back and forth more or less, movies where my big thing is every time it cuts to the next scene, I go, oh yeah, it's this great scene.
Yeah. Where there's never a scene where it's like, oh God, okay, now we got to sit through this.
Yeah.
No, it's a fantastically made piece of cinema. It's got great pacing. The performances are stellar. I don't see how you can watch this movie more than once without being like, okay, and now I'm exhausted and want to sleep for the next 3 days.
Did you know anything about Boogie Nights, David? Did you know it was this chronicle of the porn industry? Did you know anybody who was in it?
Didn't know a thing going in. You had told me a little bit about the cast the night before. It's a hell of a cast. I mean, I do love John C. Reilly and anything that he does. I'd say some of my favorite scenes in this movie were Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah, fantastic cast. But no, didn't know a thing about this movie going in.
And now, I mean, you've sort of let it slide. You've let it out. Your initial reaction. Peek behind the curtain. We literally just finished watching this 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, initial reactions. So, like I said, fantastically made movie, glorious performances from the whole cast. Really, really well done. 2.5 hours of unabated misery. You know, even the high moments. It's a fantastic rise and fall movie.
I was interested by what you were saying about that you're not a huge rise and fall movie person. They exhaust you.
Yeah, they're exhausting. They're exhausting for me to watch. They can be, anyways.
I think specifically Coke movies. There's something about like Goodfellas, Casino, Wolf of Wall Street, and this. You feel like absolute shit, and everything's so fast, and then everything's so slow. Yeah. All of these movies give you a bit of a Coke hangover because they are so excessive and speedy and rapid.
And that's what makes it fantastic. I think it's you know, it's very well crafted, and the evidence that it's a good movie is that I am so tired afterwards. Like, which is why I think people are shocked when you say, "Oh, I watched this to relax," or "This is my favorite movie to rewatch." It's like
it is a bit of a comfort film for me.
Yeah. I imagine once you've watched it enough times and you know where things are coming. Yeah. For me, as a first-time viewer, it was very effective movie because I felt absolutely swept up in the sort of quote-unquote glamour of the porn star lifestyle in the 70s and you know, Burt Reynolds' house and just the frenetic energy that builds up to the dramatic kind of twist.
let's talk about Burt Reynolds' actual relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson and his time here, because there are so many different angles. Like, there was undoubtedly a big fight on the day of them shooting the weirdly enough, the fight between you know, I'm ready to shoot. It's my big dick. I'm ready to shoot.
What was the fight about? I guess Burt Reynolds just finally decided, I don't like this movie.
I think it was the way that it's been reported on is he didn't like. He thought he was a cocky little kid, which by all accounts, Paul Thomas Anderson was in these early days. He thought he was this cocky little kid. You know, I'm this star, and again, I'm this star of the past 20 years, and now I'm here in this independent movie. And as you talked about, we watched the first half with previous and future guest Rhian Holmes, and so she literally watched the first half and was like, "Oh, this is lovely." Well, she didn't say that, but like, actually no, because she did stay for a little bit of the 80s, so she didn't even get God Only Knows. She just had an absolute, she just had an absolute sad ending. But she, you were both talking about how the perspective of, we're watching it now with this being a critically acclaimed movie and we can see that it works. I'd say that reading the script itself, some of that perspective must have been there. You can't read this script and not think and not see some grain of quality.
And we've got, I don't know, I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. And for Burt Reynolds, I don't know if it's this kid's second movie. Like you said, he's been a leading man in Hollywood for decades at this point. The scripts that he's had before this one are not like this.
No, they're not good for a start, but anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, some of his lines in this were, I don't know. I think there's definitely something good in the script. Whether or not that's what Burt Reynolds was looking at, we'll never know, essentially. I can see how Burt Reynolds would be concerned working on this picture, though.
Yeah, Reynolds did not get along with that. This is just Wikipedia. This is the general broad facts. Reynolds did not get along with Anderson whilst filming. That's well known. After seeing a rough cut of the film, Reynolds fired his agent after he recommended it to him. That's true. Despite this, he won the Golden Globe Award and was nominated for the Oscar. Later, Anderson wanted Reynolds to star in his next film, Magnolia, but Reynolds declined. I don't know in what role. And then in 2012, Reynolds denied rumors that he disliked the film and called it extraordinary, and saying that his opinion of it has nothing to do with his relationship with Anderson. So then this is just before his death in 2000. Well, no, Burt Reynolds died in 2018. This is just before his death in 2017. This is when they're doing, he's doing press tours for Phantom Thread. And he talked about, this is Paul Thomas Anderson. I think that when Burt and I kind of got into it, it might have been the day, it may have been the day before or the day after, but it was a really tense 3 days on the set. The other 57 days were really fun and a lot of laughs, but there were these 3 tense days there in the middle where Mark was fighting with Burt, or in the film, looking back, it was really in the nasty part of the movie too, when really everything's kind of going wrong. When it's the good times and everybody's got their silk disco pants on and everything, we're having a ball. It's really fun. But when it starts to get cocaine glossy and hangovers, there's all that. There's blood, and the fun of it all is wearing off. It was the middle of the summer, it was really hot, and we were all stuck together in that house for a long time, and things were just, they were heated.
I mean, I can see that, and I hear, you know, you hear things about working with Mark Wahlberg, I guess.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, could have been also almost the same thing that Eddie was struggling with towards the end of the movie. Is here's Burt Reynolds, the guy on his way out of being the leading man in Hollywood, and here comes Mark Wahlberg, the literal sex appeal of the movie, essentially.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on this set that we'll probably just never know about, that Burt Reynolds just about.
Yeah. No, oh God, I'm throwing my things around. I have the script here, David. I forgot to show you earlier. Oh, look at that. That's a sign from God. I flipped it open and there's Philip Baker Hall as Floyd Gondoli. I'm a simple man. I like butter in my ass and lollipops in my mouth. You know what I love, David, that I can start quoting Boogie Nights to you now? Maybe you don't want that, but
as long as it's not that one line over and over again.
I'll mix it up. The film was dedicated to Ernie Anderson, his dad, who died during this, and then during, I believe he saw a rough cut, I can't remember, but then he was having serious cancer issues and I believe that then led to a branch of dementia, and then that becomes much of the thrust for the Tom Cruise segment of Magnolia. And those scenes, you're going to be begging for that custody hearing. You're going to be begging for Julianne Moore crying out against a wall. Hearing Jason Robards, a genuinely dying man, perform the role of a dying man, going, the fucking regret is the most, it shakes me to my absolute core. It was also dedicated to Robert Ridgely, who played the Colonel, who also died around the filming, who died around the release, sorry. Robert Ridgely, who is excellent in this as the Colonel.
As the Colonel, yes.
That's
and
another one.
We love the wrap up for his little story.
We do love the wrap up for his little story. I love, it makes you feel guilty, because in a world where we don't get the second half of the movie, the Colonel's one of my favorite characters, undoubtedly. He has the funniest moment in the entire film. It's Robert Ridgely's best performance. I hear you got a great big cock. May I see it? Thank you, Eddie. Just absolutely knockout.
Just I love that we stay on his face for that shot as well, and it just does not move for a solid 10-15 seconds.
This is another glorious thing with a movie that has a long length. Don't.
It's not the only thing.
Yeah, but it can breathe.
Yes.
I famously love, like, if a movie can justify its length, then I am so in for it to be longer. Like with this, we're going to talk about a couple of deleted scenes, and I'm just like, okay, we don't actually need these. Just put them fucking in. If I am there for more than 2 hours 20, make it 3 hours.
Just might as well throw it in there.
Also, when it comes to like DVD and Netflix, why the fuck not? And you know what really annoys me? When The Irishman came out and people were saying it's 3.5 hours long, and I was saying, you're going to watch 10 hours of The Office and feel nothing. And it drove me. I was really an annoying person. You're not surprised by that. Meeting everybody at Jack's, like Jack's first party house. This is where we meet John C. Reilly properly and talk about this, because this was like your big favorite part of the film.
John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg's relationship in this movie might be one of my favorite parts of the movie. I think scenes with Jack and then the scenes shared between John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg were just fantastic. I loved, so something you never really get anymore is like John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg being compared to one another.
yeah, I can see that.
It was just great. That whole first moment, that first interaction at the bar. Oh my God, just fantastic. They have such a nice chemistry in this, and they play off of each other so well. I don't know, I loved it. I
love that it's almost exactly the same dynamic. I mentioned this, I quoted it when we were watching it. As Step Brothers as, did we just become best friends? It literally has.
They're the last two brain cells, and they have everything in common, and they're just great. They're just great.
It is wonderful. I also have here, so then the porn shoot. Definitely one of the most awkward 10 minutes and most uncomfortable, especially when you're watching it with one of your good friends and his girlfriend. But I mean, definitely one of the best crafted, I would say. I love the way anytime it gets too hot or too uncomfortable, because it is sexy, it's like in Mad Men, it's involuntary, don't be flattered, but like, it's this sexy thing, but anytime it gets too sexy, too hot, we cut to the boredom.
We cut to the fact that everyone has seen this 1,000 times and we're making a movie. Yeah,
it's sexy. Cut inside the camera. Look at the literal film going through the rail. This is a business. I love it. And also we get those moments of Julianne Moore putting it on, like, okay, kids, we gotta switch angles.
I thought it was great that we got to see kind of the dichotomy between like Mark Wahlberg's character, who at this point is very inexperienced and doesn't really know what's going into this, and Julianne Moore's character, who has been here, done this 1,000 times. I really liked kind of seeing the dichotomy between experienced porn actors and whenever we were bringing somebody new in to do things for the first time, and the way that it was just so natural and easy for the people that have been doing this to just roll right into that character, essentially.
And his constant focus on, does it look sexy? Do I look sexy?
Do I look cool? Yeah. He's so desperate for just approval, you know.
Yeah.
He wants so badly for people to like him, which I thought was great. And those scenes with his mom really do a very good job of showing us exactly why he is sucked into this world so readily, essentially.
Yeah. Go ahead and fuck that little girl. But my next 10-minute stretch is the New Year's Eve. Is Floyd Gondoli, is Eddie taking coke for the first time, is meeting Todd, is Scotty's attempt to kiss, and Little Bill's double homicide suicide. Like you were talking, what was it? It was, it was the machine gun montage. The Commodore's machine gun, the song's called Machine Gun. It was the Porn Awards montage, and you were saying,
yes,
oh, this is, and then
this is the height, and then it got even higher, and then it crashes.
And I was like, no, there's a very clear dividing line, and it is this New Year's Eve. Bye bye 70s, hello 80s, and let's start with Floyd Gondoli. Philip Baker Hall just coming in, just like absolutely
throwing the vibes right off.
Bringing in 4 of the dirtiest people you've ever seen. These are the real people. Okay. And he's got this slight southern twinge. And he gives the best monologue of the film, which we'll get to later. And my other 10-minute stretch, Rahad Jackson. Here we go, man. Rahad does this incredible little manic, crack-fueled, coke-fueled Tarantino
something else. That scene, it feels like it's from a whole nother world almost when they walk into that house.
And you, again, we talked about this with the title card. It was the first thing, like, long way down. Sorry, just one more thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's that sort of knowingness. And I'm sure that there are 100 people who see that title card and go, fuck you.
Oh yeah, no, it's cheeky. It's so cheeky, and it's basically Paul Thomas Anderson's little wink at like, you see how fucking awful this is now. Watch this sort of thing.
Tom Swindley's specific favorite part of the film. Just clear the deck, David. Just you can mute your.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Right, the Big Top theme. Michael Penn's The Big Top theme opening the film. The first shot cut to Boogie Nights. The scene is absolutely electric. Heather Graham's booty wiggle in time with is incredible. Little Bill dropping his keys and then picking them back up is so sad. Will you close the door? He looks like Val Kilmer. Oh, don't stop, big stud. The dad kissing Joanna Gleason on the face. Shave if you're going to do that, for God's sake. Cheryl Lynn, when he's pouncing on Cheryl Lynn's bed, and you're just like, this guy is literally a child. The deep breath before Roller Girl goes down. In the Mr. Torpedo area, in the fun zone, until they spurt that joy juice. I like that. The fade from Jack sitting watching the fucking to the mum sitting there. The cut from door to door of the door slamming on the mum's house and the door opening at Jack's. What a perfect transition. Oh, the Colonel absolutely talking to the coke, the guy who's holding the OD chick. Oh, do you think so, Doctor?
Oh, do you think you need to get some new shit, huh?
What do you think? What do you think? Maybe that means you need to get some new shit. What do you think? The Colonel's reaction to the cock, we've already talked about it. Scotty with his pen. Amber Waves in the shooting of the film. I need to check something. This is a giant cock. Great stuff. How bored everybody is when they're shooting. Going inside the camera, not enough film. I love Becky Barnett at the party, muttering her name because she knows that half the guys she talks to are going to react and go, oh, fuck. My name's Becky Barnett. I love it. The Karate Kick, my favorite moment in the entire film, is after the Rock and Roll Awards speech, and it's the Karate Kick the Magnet and Steel theme coming back in. Dun, 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 doo, doo, doo. After that, that's the kind of moment of the film. Melora Walters' painting of Dirk. Buck dressed as an Earth, Wind and Fire dancer. Little Bill locking his car after getting his gun, even though he knows he's going to shoot himself in the head. The silent colonel on the other side, you know, am I your friend? Am I your friend? That was dark. That was pretty dark. Robert Downey Sr. saying, that's an MP, not a YP. Cut to Amber crying outside the wall. How many times? What was your last offense and what was your charge? Straight cut to her crying. The tolling bells coming back. And your fucking films suck now anyway. The blood on the white suit. And this is for the Christmas. The firecrackers. Every single time anybody jumps at the firecrackers. Amber becoming a director, I enjoy. The Colonel getting fucking hit up in the prison and just crying and covered in blood. Shut the fuck up, Colonel. Love it. And the little Bill painting and Jack kissing. Thank you very much. I take my bow. David, weirdly specific favorite parts, those tiny little details.
Is there anything left for me to? you took them all.
That's the joy.
That's the joy. You say butter in my ass and a lollipop.
David, I'm saving that for best line. I'm going to give you the entire monologue. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Not this. Oh yeah. How did I not throw in favorite minute? The very end with Mark Wahlberg alone in his testament. And the giant middle finger from, or not, we finally get to see the cock. We finally see the cock after 2.5 hours of everybody else reacting to it. We see the dick at the very end.
This may be the weirdest tangent I ever go on. I love the use of the word cock. It's used a lot in Magnolia as well.
It's used about every 10 fucking sentences in this movie.
Where the fuck is Ringo? Dirk stands up, unzips his pants, and lets his cock hang out. He looks at the reflection of it in the mirror. I'm a star. 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 I'm a big, bright, shining star. He puts his cock back in his pants, does a final karate kick, and walks out of the room, closing the door behind him. End. Yikes. Wow. If that is the last line of your script, just bow down and take the Oscar right now. Here we go. I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema. In particular, I like to see people fucking on film. But I don't want to win an Oscar and I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I like simple pleasures, like butter in my ass and lollipops in my mouth. That's just me. That's just something I enjoy. Call me crazy, call me a pervert. But there's one thing and I'm going to do in this life and it's going to make $1.01 in this business.
Ooh.
Thank you. I should have done that as my Bruford monologue. Hello, I'm going to be reading Floyd Gondoli from Boogie Nights. Call me a pervert, I don't care. You're not the boss of me, Jack. You're not the king of Dirk. I'm the boss of me. I'm the king of me. I'm Dirk Diggler. I'm the star. It's my big dick, and I say when we shoot. Love that.
You're fucking nothing without me.
A few fun facts. Obviously, there's so many, lots of research around this movie. Amber Waves' custodial problems were inspired by porn star Veronica Hart, who plays the judge during the scene in which the custody hearing is sorted. We've talked about Burt Reynolds and Paul's relationship. We're gonna talk about Leo.
Yeah, supposed to be in this, huh?
He was supposed to be Dirk, but he took Titanic instead.
Not a bad choice.
I think everything worked out. I think Mark Wahlberg's better than Leo.
For this part, yeah.
And I think obviously Titanic, obviously Christ alive. Yeah. Because of a negative experience with the studio changing his film's title, Paul Thomas Anderson incorporated Boogie Nights into the opening shot of the film as a physical sign. I wish he did that with every movie. Just a big neon.
Puts the title of the movie in the first shot.
big neon, There Will Be Blood. When he appeared on Inside the Actors Studio, William H. Macy recalled that at the wrap party, Nina Hartley, who played his character's wife and is a real-life porn star, gave all the cast gifts of her own porn films. Macy's present was a copy of Nina Hartley's Guide to Anal Sex, 1996.
Hey.
Oh, go on.
That's a fantastic present to give. And
Weirdly enough,
definitely
I give people Nina Hartley's Guide to Anal Sex as a gift on all of my productions.
I thought it does show in the movie how all of these people have a very comfortable and frank relationship with all of these things that other people hold taboo. And they just aren't fazed by those things because it is sort of their world. And you know, it just kind of goes to show in giving a present like that, you know.
And also it's like, it's that thing of when it comes down to it, the only thing that changes that for so many people in this, and obviously there are different reactions to that, is marriage. But in what world do they think that marriage is going to completely change everybody's the way that everybody is? Electric Light Orchestra leader Jeff Lynne originally refused to let the song Living Thing be used in the film because he has a problem with sex and violence in movies. Lynne asked to see a screening of the film and loved it so much that he allowed the song to be used. That's what I like to hear. I love you, Jeff. After filming the devastating scene between Eddie Adams and his angry mother, Joanna Gleason was talking to Paul Thomas Anderson and asked him if the material reflected the relationship between Anderson and his own mother. Anderson became very quiet and did not answer the question. Gleason then put her hand on his shoulder and said, "You don't have to forgive her."
Oh.
Powerful stuff from the IMDb trivia page there. Anderson intended for further scenes with Rahad Jackson. After the bloody attempted robbery, the police would arrive and Rahad would gather his weapons, ready to go out in a blaze of glory. I think that should have been shot and should have been in the film, because this is just a huge glaring question of what the fuck happens next. Why doesn't Rahad go after them?
Not important enough. I think the whole,
okay.
I don't think it would have been necessary. Like Rahad Jackson's scene served its exact purpose, which was Mark Wahlberg's absolute lowest point, where he almost dies for a second time, and it's what convinces him, okay, I need to stop this. We just didn't, as fun as Rahad Jackson was, there's very much such a thing as like too much of a fun, quirky side character. And another
oh
scene,
yeah. Do you know what Liberace said, David? Too much of a good thing is wonderful. In 1970, these are the taglines. Pick your best tagline, David. I'm going to give you 3. Everyone has one special thing. Okay. The life of a dreamer, the days of a business, and the nights in between. No. In 1977, sex was safe, pleasure was a business, and business was booming.
Probably the third one, although everyone has one special thing will make people chuckle once they watch the movie.
Yeah, I like it. We talked about Leo, we talked about Warren. Next thing is going to be 1990, then 2000. Where is everybody in the year 2000? Who is still alive? Let's go Dirk. Let's go Dirk. I think Dirk looks pretty sober.
Dirk is still alive. I think he's sobered up by then, but he's like one of those aged porn stars, maybe trying to be what Jack was to him.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But not quite smart enough to pull it off in the way that Jack did, maybe.
Yeah.
Although who knows, after 20-something years in the porn industry, maybe he has kind of gotten to the point where Jack's at.
Yeah. I think Jack becomes a Floyd Gondoli type, except... Well, this is the thing. With the ending, are they making then a videotape movie that he is trying to put some art into?
Yeah,
or is he sticking with film?
Well, I think the whole idea is that Jack, as it turns out, is smart enough to change with the times.
Yeah.
And we know he's someone who's going to continue innovating. But I think at the end of the movie, we basically just see a Jack who is just a grown with the industry. He's like, this is the reality now. If I want to continue making money and I want to continue making movies, I'm going to be doing it on VHS tapes, and I don't know if he's necessarily happy about it or if he's still trying to make art or not, but we basically just get the point that Jack is someone who's going to evolve with the times.
Yeah.
Essentially.
1 minute, there's somebody knocking. Did Amber become a director of commercials or a director of porn or a director at all?
Yeah, I don't think Amber ever became a director. I think she made that one film, and then Jack very gently kind of.
She makes, because she does make the commercial. She does make Buck's commercial.
Who knows?
Make sure you come inside.
She does. I'll rescind that. Maybe she does become a better director as time goes on and gets better and better. But I think the whole idea is that it doesn't really matter what any of these people eventually become. The idea is that they're gonna have each other, whatever they all become, essentially. As long as Jack's alive, at least, to give him a house to do it all in.
Does Reed become a David Copperfield level magician?
No.
David Blaine.
David Blaine is better than David Copperfield and always was.
Excuse me? But what about showmanship, David?
David Blaine's way better. He doesn't need showmanship because he can just walk up and blow your fucking mind without having to do any other shit, and then walks away like he didn't just perform a miracle. Anyways,
yes, as you were back to David,
the way I saw it, watching the end, was whether or not they all go on to become big successes at all of their dreams. The point is that they've all moved on and have other things going. Like they're all going to be more whole and complete lives, essentially. Whether or not they become amazing successes, they're going to be more well-rounded and happy people, I guess. They're going to build lives for themselves, essentially.
Mm-hmm. I think, David, that's it for my 5th favorite film, Boogie Nights.
Really?
David, I've convinced. I know the answer, but I've convinced you, and this is now in your top 5 as well, isn't it?
Yes, naturally, because I'm someone who has top 10s.
Yes.
Who has a top 10 movies. It's an excellent movie. It really is. It's fantastic. And yes, I could probably rewatch it now knowing what I know. But yeah, God, that is an exhausting movie.
I cannot wait for Magnolia.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a time.
And you can catch it right here on the Carruthers, Leggetters, and Friends podcast.
Guys, like and subscribe. Magnolia, 3 hours of depression
like
and
and
grief.
subscribe, all 10 of you.
David, I'll let you know that we have. How many subscribers do we have?
One of them's me. So
we currently have. This is live. This might change in a year. A nice 40. Yeah, roll, man. 200 episodes, 40 subscribers.
We're gonna keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Some people say that these podcasts are shit, but I'm gonna keep trying to make these podcasts better. And you're gonna try with me. We're just gonna keep rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling.
Do.
Dabba 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 da da ba 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 ba.